Hey everyone, Chris here with the Gypsy Bee Provision Co. Spring is well underway and so is swarm season. And that's what we'll be doing today, is catching a swarm. As you can see here, swarms are pretty gentle. They're not out to hurt you, they're just looking for a home. I do, however, recommend that you at least carry very basic protective equipment, and of course your smoker. You won't see me wearing a suit or a veil very often, but I at least carry them for safety. You just never know what might happen, and it's always best to be prepared. After I check everything out, I put whatever equipment I'm going to try to catch them in directly underneath the cluster. In this case, that's an 8-frame deep with frames and foundation. That way I can just shake them, or if something goes wrong and they fall, they often fall in a big cluster because they're kind of like hooked together. So if they fall, they should be able to fall right into the box. I take out a few frames with foundation and I spray them with a light solution of Honeybee Healthy. I might put maybe just a capful in that whole spray bottle. And no, this isn't a paid advertisement. I've just found that it really kind of helps the whole process go a little bit easier. Then I lightly spray the swarm itself. Again, I don't do this real heavy. I kind of want them to just engorge themselves a little bit, maybe hopefully slow them down, and then make them slightly stick to each other so that they can fall as a big ball and hopefully into my box. We found some cinder blocks and decided to get the hive a little closer to the swarm. Now I'm going to cut the small branches around the main branch that they're clustered onto. So that way when I cut the big branch, it doesn't come loose and cause a big fuss and get caught up with all the other little vines wrapped around it too. So I'm just going to make it to where when I do cut the large branch, I can cut it easily. And then here, I'm bending the branch to see if it's close enough to shake. I decided not to do that, even though some just kind of fell off, because when there's a lot of vines around the main branch that they're clustered onto and it's really brushy, I found that I can shake pretty hard, but I don't get all the bees. And if the queen gets stuck up there, they'll just fly right back up to the clustering spot. I'm trying to be really careful. I don't want to cause any jostling. I don't want to cause a huge shockwave to shake the bees off. Actually ended up getting some help from the landowner, which we'll talk about more in a minute. She helped me cut off some of the other branches while I held the main branch so that when it was broken free, it wouldn't just go falling down into the box. And then I could slowly lower the branch before giving it a few good shakes.
I'm sorry.
It's okay, that's not your fault. Couple
Still
more
got one
snips.
hanging on.
And then I hold the branch up just to see if they're going to go right back to it. Maybe get a few more shakes. Get it out of there. And there's the main branch that they were on. I put it back near where it was just in case they're going to go right back to it. I think the queen fell into the box immediately because they didn't go back to the original spot at all. They just stayed into the hive and started orienting to it. Spray them down just a little bit. And I just kind of wait for things to settle down. There's probably a swarm you lost forever ago and they're just coming back. Now in this shot, I've put a screened inner cover on both the top and the bottom of the hive. And that was to kind of keep them in, almost like a package. I realized there were still a ton of bees out orienting and foraging and whatever. So I put a small crack at the very bottom and then I spritzed it with the Honeybee Healthy to hopefully get them to recognize it as an entrance. And I'm also kind of looking around to make sure that they're not clustering underneath the hive or at the original location or near it. I put a lid on top of it so that way it would be shaded and cool and kind of like a hive. And then I waited some more and just kind of let them settle down. Probably took 15-20 minutes. I then got the original branch that they were clustered on, and I just kind of stuck it in the brush. The property owner had told me that there had been several swarms already this year, and I wanted to entice them to go back to the same spot, and maybe I could just move the branch out. Catching this swarm was a really special experience for me, and not in the way that catching any swarm is a special experience. Catching this swarm was a particularly special experience because they likely swarmed from the hives of Master Beekeeper Jerry Isley. Sadly, we lost Jerry Isley last year, and with him we lost an archive of experiences and knowledge. The property owner was his wife, Betty Isley. She told me how catching this swarm with me reminded her of all the beekeeping experiences they shared through their whole life together. Miss Isley, this was truly an honor. From the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate the experience. Your husband was a pillar of the community, and always will be. He gave me my practical examination so that I could become a certified beekeeper when I first started beekeeping. He may be gone, but he is missed and he will never be forgotten. I hope that I can carry on a little bit of his legacy by keeping these bees alive and hopefully helping them to thrive. Thank you so much, Miss Isley. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm glad I could share it with you. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. Don't forget to share and subscribe too. Have any questions or comments? Leave them below. I'd love to hear about your swarm catching experiences. Until next time, this is Chris with the Gypsy Bee Provision Co.